Hello and welcome to the first of the video tutorials. I'm Dr. Paget and it's a pleasure to be talking to you again. The first tutorial is upon my, I suppose, passionate subject. It's the mental child abuse. I believe it to be the rampant disease of our time. It affects the entire person, and usually it affects them for life. Emotional abuse is elusive. Unlike physical abuse, the people doing it and receiving it may not even know it's happening. It can be more harmful than physical abuse, because it can undermine what we think about ourselves. It can cripple all we are meant to be as we allow something untrue to define us. Emotional abuse can happen between parent and child, husband and wife, amongst relatives and between friends. The abuser projects their words, attitudes or actions onto an unsuspecting victim, usually because they themselves have not dealt with childhood wounds that are now causing them to harm others. How do we mentally abuse children? Well, the common way, of course, is rejection. What is worse than being rejected or feeling that you're not wanted? To reject a child, to push them away, to make them feel that they are useless or worthless, to undermine the value of their ideas, their feelings, to refuse to help them, scorn, to demean the child, to ridicule them, to humiliate them, to cause them to be ashamed, to criticize the child, to insult them. And then, of course, there's always threats, isn't there? To threaten a child or someone who is dear to them with a physical violence, abandonment, or death. To threaten to destroy the child's possessions, to place them in danger or chaotic situations. To define strict and unreasonable expectations, and then threaten them with punishment if they don't comply. Terrorizing, well, how does that come? We do it every day, don't we? Parents who use threats, yelling, cursing, are doing serious psychological damage to their children. Singling out one child to criticize them or punish them for ridiculing, even in jest, this causes terrible and abuses children so quickly. Excessive teasing, screaming, cursing, raging at the child, threatening or intimidating behaviors, scaring a child or others in front of a child, unpredictable, unreasonable or extreme reactions, verbal threats to harm the child or self or others, hostility amongst family members, inconsistent or unreasonable demands placed on the child, ridiculing or humiliating a child in front of others. Can you think of anything worse? Threatening to reveal personal, embarrassing information of the child in front of others. A parent who abuses a child through isolation may not allow the child to engage in appropriate activities. Does that often strike a chord with you, with many people you know? Leaving a child alone or unattended for long periods of time. Not permitting a child to react with other children and maintain friendships. Requiring a child to stay indoors in their room or away from peers. Excessive or extreme punishment for typical childhood behaviours, and so many more. Does that strike a chord with all of you? What about corrupting? Cheating, lying, bullying, promoting promiscuity or other sexual endeavours, asking the child to carry out. May not be a big one, but it's certainly very, very damaging. Exploiting. Exploitation. Having expectations beyond the development age of the child. Asking the child to do things like look after a grown-up. Asking the child to care for a parent or sibling without regard to the child's age or ability. Giving a child responsibilities far greater than a child at that age could handle, or using a child to profit is abusive. And let's come to words. Exposure to domestic violence and to expose a child to violent words or actions. Behavior of emotionally abusive parent or caregiver does not support a child's healthy development and well-being. Instead, it creates an environment of fear, hostility, and anxiety. A child is sensitive to the feelings and opinions and actions of their parents. Emotionally harmful attitudes may include some of the following: not showing affection, ignoring the child's presence or obvious needs, ignoring the child when they are in need of comfort. Oh, this picture, we can see what often happens, shouting at each other. What it doesn't show is the child listening. Saying unkind things to a child. Emotionally abusive parents can say things or convey feelings that really hurt a child. Common examples can include making the child feel unwanted. Some parents might even tell them that, "I wish you were never born." Ridiculing or belittling the child, saying, "You're stupid," and things like that. What are the symptoms we see in the child who's been mentally abused? Difficulties at school, diet issues, emotional issues, low self-esteem and depression, anxiety, rebellious behavior, sleep problems, can't stay asleep, always ill for no apparent reason. I want you to remember one thing. Rejection is a far greater risk for adolescent violence than drugs or poverty or gang membership. Countless studies have been demonstrated that even mild rejection can lead people to take out their aggression on innocent bystanders. In America, for instance, school shootings that they've done a lot of research in, once again shows that it is quite often this situation regarding rejection. Now there's other people. Your child has got to function in the world of other people, haven't they? So what have we got to guard against? Here's some questions I'd like you to just think about. Does anyone ask your child the following questions if you're not around? To check on humiliation, degradation, discounting, negating, judging, criticizing. And underneath I've left you some typical questions that you can ask them. And here's some more in domination, control, and shame. Just memorize as you go through this tutorial. Just memorize a few. And just ask the questions to yourself, and then you can ask others. accusing and blaming and trivial and unreasonable demands or expectations. Have a look at those questions and read them. How domestic violence, I put this in just to show you the effect of how domestic violence affects children. The family abuse of children, parents and caregivers, you have enormous opportunity to either give love to your child or to abuse them. Just think of harsh criticism, belittling, labelling, humiliation or demanding jokes, teasing about a child's mental capabilities or physical appearance, refusing love and attention and touch. Emotional abuse often stems from parents who were raised in a verbally charged environment themselves and who experience emotionally abusive relationships with their own parents, or who had little emotional support growing up. They continue that treatment unconsciously in their own families, without recognizing the impact that it's having on their own children. This is why we must encourage parents to develop strong attachments with children and cut out this abuse at source. We need to end these childish attitudes that demand that parents control their children or ask them to hide their children away unless they act in a way which is pleasing to the eyes of visiting adults. Adults must understand the ways in which they behave and treat others has a direct impact on the perception of the world and of the child's behaviour. Many people fail to realize that even the small and insignificant words abuse children. Finally, I just want to talk about distancing, or what I call emotional distancing. Do people do these sort of things? There's more questions you can remember to ask, and the people who look after your children. Do they use pouting and withdrawing, or withholding attention, affection? Have a look at some of those. Ignoring. Well, would you like to be ignored? No, the simple answer is of course you wouldn't. So why should your child love to be ignored? If you look at that screen, you will see that all those are hurtful to you, and because they're hurtful to you, they can only be even more hurtful to your child. Remember one thing: harsh words hurt kids. Harsh words hurt kids. And education, there's a lot of abuse coming out of abuse with children, with teachers and home environments colliding with school. Every child is innocent. Save them from this fear. That is your responsibility. You have a responsibility. Yes, everyone listening to me today has got this total responsibility to stop child abuse. To stop child abuse. See you in the next video. Thank you for watching and listening.